On a sunny afternoon, Samuel and his girlfriend Ivy were driving around the city, enjoying their time together in the pleasant weather. As they stopped at a gas station to refuel, they noticed a girl begging for money with a sad look and a suffering expression. Moved, Samuel approached the girl and asked kindly, "Hi, are you okay? Why are you here begging for money?" The girl, with tears in her eyes, replied, "My name is Alice. I suffer at home because my mother is an alcoholic and doesn't care about me. I need help to eat and survive." Ivy, who was watching the scene from afar, approached and said to Samuel, "This girl really seems to need help, Samuel. What do you think about doing something for her?" Samuel, already moved by Alice's story, replied, "Yes, Ivy. I think we can do something for her. Alice, I'm going to buy you a plate of food, okay?" Alice, with a mix of gratitude and surprise, replied, "Thank you so much. You are very kind." Moved by Alice's story, Samuel didn't hesitate to help her. He went into the gas station and bought a hearty plate of food for the girl. Additionally, he took some money out of his pocket and gave it to Alice. Concerned, Samuel asked, "Alice, what are you going to do with this money?" The girl, looking worried, replied, "I'm going to hide the money from my mother and use it to buy food. If she finds out, she'll spend it all on alcohol." Samuel was deeply saddened by Alice's situation and, on impulse, walked to his car. He opened the door and took out a ring that his grandfather, Mr. Xavier, had given him. The ring had an invaluable sentimental value for him. Seeing him with the ring in his hands, Ivy asked with concern, "Samuel, are you sure you want to give this ring to Alice? Your grandfather said it should be used on special occasions." With a determined look and a heart full of compassion, Samuel replied, "Yes, Ivy. I feel in my heart that it's the right thing to do. This ring can be a symbol of hope for Alice and help her face her challenges." So, Samuel gave the ring to Alice, who received it with surprise and gratitude, not knowing the true value of that gift. Samuel and Ivy left, feeling that, somehow, they had made a difference in that girl's life. Later on, Samuel and Ivy returned to bring some supplies and toys for Alice at the gas station, but they couldn't find the girl anymore. Samuel then remembered the reason why the ring he gave to Alice was so special. That ring had belonged to his grandmother who had passed away a few years ago. After some time after the passing of his grandmother, Samuel's grandfather, Mr. Xavier Gray, found out that he had cancer that doctors said was incurable. Samuel, who had been raised by his grandparents, dedicated himself to taking care of his grandfather. Fortunately, his grandfather recovered and now could live a normal life. On an afternoon, Samuel and Xavier were sitting on the porch, drinking tea and enjoying the view. Samuel, who had always had a very close relationship with his grandfather, decided to bring up a subject that had been bothering him for some time. "Grandpa, I always wonder how you feel knowing that your other children don't care that much about you," asked Samuel, expressing his concern. Xavier looked thoughtfully at the horizon and replied with a sigh, "My dear grandson, it's sad, yes, but life has its ways. I have 3 children who, unfortunately, have followed different paths and drifted away from me. Josephine, the oldest, lives in another state, married to a truck driver. She's always worried about money and complaining about difficulties." Samuel listened attentively as Xavier continued. "Ezekiel, my middle son, has gambling problems. He only shows up here when he needs to borrow money, and that breaks my heart. And Jasper, the youngest, claims to be a nomad, but in reality, he's a wanderer who seeks to live in the moment, without worrying about the future or the people he left behind. Samuel frowned, not understanding how his own uncles could be so different from him. "I can't understand how they can act like this, Grandpa. How can they drift away from someone as amazing as you?" Xavier smiled tenderly, putting his hand on Samuel's shoulder. "My grandson, everyone makes their own choices and follows their own path. Sometimes, paths drift away from those we love. Your mother may have also followed a different path. She was younger, even younger than Jasper, but unfortunately that accident took her away, but I am happy that she left me with a great gift, which is you. What's important is that you have been by my side in the toughest moments, and that means more than anything to me. I feel immense pride in you and the man you have become." Samuel, moved, hugged his grandfather. "I will always be here, Grandpa. Always." And so, on that afternoon, grandfather and grandson shared another special moment, strengthening even more the bonds of love and affection that united them. After that afternoon, Xavier gave the ring to Samuel to keep for him until a special moment. 12 years had passed. Unfortunately Valentin had passed away. The funeral was taken by a huge commotion of people who came to say goodbye to their friend, but unfortunately his 3 sons did not attend. Samuel was no longer dating Ivy, who was now married and had started another family. The last to say goodbye was Samuel, Daniela, who had always been like a granddaughter to Valentin and his wife, as they helped her deal with problems with her alcoholic parents. Many times when she was a child, they welcomed her into their home. Daniela was Samuel's neighbor. She always felt gratitude and affection for Valentin. She helped him with the funeral preparations and was by his friend's side at all times. There was also a mysterious woman there who remained until the end, crying non-stop to say goodbye to that beloved man. Samuel and Daniela, intrigued, exchanged glances and whispers. "Do you know who that woman is?" Samuel asked Daniela. "I have no idea. She seems very upset, but I've never seen her around here before," replied Daniela. The two observed the mysterious woman, who was crying profusely, and wondered who she could be and why she was so emotional, but no one there seemed to know her. As the ceremony continued, Samuel and Daniela continued to question the woman's identity and the reason for her presence there. After the funeral, Samuel was sorting through some things in the house that had belonged to his grandfather when he was surprised by the unexpected visit of his uncles Josephine, Ezekiel, and Jasper. They entered the house with serious expressions and an air of arrogance. "Samuel, we need to talk," said Josephine, crossing her arms. "As Valentin's children, we have the right to this house. You have to leave." Samuel, incredulous, looked at his uncles with anger. "How can you be so insensitive? I took care of my grandfather my whole life. You barely showed up during his illness. And now, you want to take the house he left me?" Ezekiel, impatient, interrupted, "It doesn't matter what you did, Samuel. We are his children, and the law is on our side. You have 3 days to leave." Jasper, who had remained silent until then, only nodded in agreement. Desperate, Samuel sought help, but the legal process was too slow. He called a family friend who was a lawyer. "Hello, Mr. Holland. My uncles are trying to take the house that my grandfather left me. They gave me only 3 days to leave. What can I do?" The lawyer, understanding, replied, "Samuel, I know it's a difficult situation, but unfortunately the legal process is slow. I will check if your grandfather left any will or document that can help you, but I can't guarantee that we will solve this in 3 days." Samuel, desolate, thanked the lawyer and hung up the phone. He knew that the fight for the house would be tough, but he had no choice but to confront his uncles and defend his grandfather's legacy. 3 days later, Samuel heard firm knocks on the door. An official named Alice was waiting for him, accompanied by 2 police officers, ready to enforce the eviction order. Samuel opened the door, anxious and nervous, but at the same time, he noticed something familiar about the woman in front of him. He fixed his gaze on the ring that was shining on Alice's finger and, emotional, asked, "Are you that girl from the gas station? The one I helped so many years ago?" Alice, surprised to be recognized, confirmed with a nod and a smile. "Yes, it's me, Samuel. After that day, my life changed completely. I was adopted by the family that owned the restaurant at the gas station, and they gave me all the support and love I needed. I studied law and became an official." Samuel, with tears in his eyes, felt a mixture of joy and sadness. Joy to know that Alice had overcome adversity and built a better life, but sadness to see her there, in that difficult moment of his life. Moved by Samuel's story and desperation, Alice took out her phone and made some calls, trying to find a way to help him. While talking on the phone, her expression showed concern and determination. After hanging up, she turned to Samuel and said, "Samuel, for now, I need you to leave the house. But I promise I will do everything I can to help you in this situation. I won't let your uncles harm you." Samuel, with a lump in his throat, nodded and began to prepare to leave the house. However, deep in his heart, he felt a spark of hope, thanks to Alice's unexpected presence in that crucial moment. 3 days later, Samuel heard firm knocks on the door. An official named Alice was waiting for him, accompanied by 2 police officers, ready to enforce the eviction order. Samuel opened the door, anxious and nervous, but at the same time, he noticed something familiar about the woman in front of him. He fixed his gaze on the ring that was shining on Alice's finger and, emotional, asked, "Are you that girl from the gas station? The one I helped so many years ago?" Alice, surprised to be recognized, confirmed with a nod and a smile. "Yes, it's me, Samuel. After that day, my life changed completely. I was adopted by the family that owned the restaurant at the gas station, and they gave me all the support and love I needed. I studied law and became an official." Samuel, with tears in his eyes, felt a mixture of joy and sadness. Joy to know that Alice had overcome adversity and built a better life, but sadness to see her there, in that difficult moment of his life. Moved by Samuel's story and desperation, Alice took out her phone and made some calls, trying to find a way to help him. While talking on the phone, her expression showed concern and determination. After hanging up, she turned to Samuel and said, "Samuel, for now, I need you to leave the house. But I promise I will do everything I can to help you in this situation. I won't let your uncles harm you." Samuel, with a lump in his throat, nodded and began to prepare to leave the house. However, deep in his heart, he felt a spark of hope, thanks to Alice's unexpected presence in that crucial moment. With nowhere else to go, Samuel found refuge in Daniela's house, who without hesitation, welcomed him during that difficult time. Samuel thanked Daniela's generosity, and the two supported each other through the complicated situation. 2 days later, Alice returned with surprising news. She held some documents in her hands and, with a smile on her face, explained, "Before he died, Xavier, fearing that his self-interested children would come after his inheritance, transferred the house and some family jewels to the name of a woman named Juliet Travis. Samuel was confused and asked, "But who is Juliet Travis? I don't know anyone with that name." Alice agreed to take him to the woman to help him understand the situation better. When they arrived at Juliet Travis's house, Samuel was shocked to recognize her as the unknown woman who cried at Xavier's funeral. With an emotional look, Juliet Travis revealed to Samuel, "Your grandfather and I became great friends in the last years of his life. He trusted me to keep the transfer document of the house, but with time and life's challenges, I forgot." Samuel, still stunned, listened attentively to Mrs. Travis's words, while Alice watched the scene. The revelation brought relief to Samuel, who now had the chance to reclaim his grandfather's house and honor his memory. Samuel, Daniela, Alice, and Mrs. Travis headed together to the house that belonged to Mr. Xavier Gray, determined to confront the greedy children of the deceased. When they arrived, they found Josephine, Ezekiel, and Jasper busy packing up Valentin's belongings and organizing the sale of the house. Alice, with authority in her voice, challenged the siblings, "You have no right to sell this house. I am here with a court order that proves the transfer of ownership to Juliet Travis." Josephine, indignant, retorted, "This is absurd. We are his children, and this house belongs to us." Ezekiel, equally enraged, added, "We will fight this in court, and you will see that we will come out on top." Jasper, for his part, just watched the scene, although he was just as upset as the other two. Alice remained calm and responded firmly, "You can try to appeal, but the law is on our side. The house was legally transferred to Mrs. Travis, and she has no intention of selling it. You need to leave now." Juliet Travis, who was next to Alice, nodded in agreement, giving strength to the words of the official. Samuel and Daniela watched the scene with a mixture of relief and satisfaction, knowing that justice was being served. Josephine, Ezekiel, and Jasper, with no options and facing the court order, were forced to leave the house. They tried to appeal the decision, but the court confirmed the validity of the transfer of ownership to Mrs. Travis, frustrating the plans of the greedy siblings. Justice prevailed, and Valentin's house was preserved, honoring his memory and his wish. The turning point in Samuel and Daniela's lives brought them even closer, and the bond they shared blossomed, leading them to decide to get married. Alice, the court officer who helped Samuel in the battle for his grandfather's house, was invited as the maid of honor, and Juliet Travis, the property holder, was also present, sharing in the happiness of that special moment. The ceremony was beautiful and emotional, marked by the union of two souls who faced adversity together and learned about the importance of solidarity, compassion, and resilience. United by love and gratitude, Samuel, Daniela, Alice, and Juliet Travis moved forward, carrying with them the values that united them and transformed their lives forever. And with this inspiring story, we conclude our video for today. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. We're sure you'll love it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.